everyone. Hello. How are you guys? Good. Good day? Yeah, a lot of knowledge. So after this, it's cocktail hour. I knew that would get it.
So keep it short, condensed.
We will keep it short. Oh, thanks, guys. I'm ALIA Lamborghini. I'm with Millennial Media. Thank you for having me here today. Want to introduce my esteemed panel. Today we're going to talk a lot about mobile advertising and mobile products for consumers. It's a very connected world, as everyone in this room knows. I want to just talk a little bit, and we'll just do like 4 or 5 quick level set stats, just to remind everyone why the advertisers sitting in front of you care so much about mobile. I want to start by introducing Matt Jones. Matt's the general manager of mobile at the Home Depot. Matt, what's your favorite app?
The Home Depot app.
Yes. Good answer.
Was that a trick question?
How about besides the Home Depot app? What do you like the most?
The USA Today app.
Okay. Previous employer. We've got Jennifer GASSMAN. Jennifer is the VP Group Media Director at Moxie Interactive. Oh, but Jennifer is not sitting second. This is Josh, not Jennifer. Hi,
Close
Josh.
enough.
Josh CHERFOLI is the online and relationship marketing manager at Porsche Cars North America. Josh, what's your favorite app?
The Home Depot app?
Yeah.
Come back around. There's
Okay, right.
some really cool Porsche apps as well. So.
Okay, good.
All right.
And Jennifer GASSMAN, VP Group Media Director at Moxie Interactive here in Atlanta. Jennifer, how about your favorite app?
I'm going to have to say it's not Home Depot, but Google Maps, because I'm extremely directionally challenged.
Yes, I would say the same for myself. So as we know, connected world, I love this slide because it shows you how fast our industry moves, right? So smartphone penetration versus telephone, electricity, computer, less than 5 years, and we're at like, Lewis, correct me if I'm wrong, like 63% of the US has a smartphone device right now. Obviously, massive opportunity to reach the consumer via this device that's in their pocket, on the go with them, essentially 24/7. So 300,000 babies born in the US a day, approximately, 1.3 million Android activations a day. So, it's not just about iOS, it's absolutely, sort of a 2-platform race at this point. Maybe Windows Mobile will show back up again, but just kind of shows you the scope and the scale here. The folks in this room probably beat this stat. Checking your phones 150 times a day, every 6.5 minutes. There's no way you make it through this presentation every 6.5 minutes. I'm guaranteeing you're looking at it more often than that. So, what are we doing on our phones? We're gaming, we're social networking, we're purchasing, we're using utilities like maps, things like that. So perfect place to reach the consumer. And then a quick trend that I just want to mention is co-viewing. And there's a lot of folks in here from the various broadcast companies around Atlanta. So you know this story very well. But no longer do you go home at night and sit on the couch and watch TV and lean forward and exclusively watch TV, right? You've got multiple devices lined up next to you on the couch. You have a spouse with a couple devices. Maybe you have some kids with a few tablets and phones next to you. So it's truly multi-screening, and we really have to work hard to capture the consumer's attention. So we're going to get into a little bit, from these 3 major Atlanta advertising companies, or marketers about how they do that on a daily basis. So we'll start with Jennifer and a little bit about how Moxie captures the mobile consumers for their large client, Verizon Wireless.
So I know Alia just walked us through a whole bunch of stats, and one of the main things that we do as marketers is take a look at the stats and then kind of map how it bundles into the consumer journey. And so one of the things that we're very interested in now is how mobile is impacting commerce, so mobile commerce from that respect. And so one of the things that we're just showing, sorry, I keep turning around, I'm just going to stand up a second, get this together, is how mobile shoppers are growing, and it's continuing to grow. And so we're expecting to see more and more commerce happening on mobile devices. So what does that mean for our clients? And then also, we were supposed to have something called, I think, what Google termed a mobile moment in this summer where mobile searches outranked desktop searches. So we didn't get there yet, but what it is showing is that more and more devices are being used for searching and how that's going to impact a user flow and experience there. And then something that we're very interested in right now is cross devices. And so how people are using their desktop, their tablets, and their smartphone devices. And so from people are using multiple devices during different phases throughout their shopping paths. So if we go to the next slide, we're all getting ready for the holiday season, so it's very top of mind right now and how people are using their mobile devices to impact. And so we just wanted to take a look at a couple of quick stats. Mobile advertising is more and more of our budgets at this point, but also for Black Friday, 32% of that weekend shopping was done on a mobile device. So people are very clearly out and about doing their shopping. So what does that mean for marketers? And then also Thanksgiving Day online sales in general are growing. And so we're seeing that digitally sales are growing and getting a bigger piece of the pie, and that mobile is taking a larger share of it. And so we just want to take a look at these stats and then how we're using them to influence our consumer purchases.
Thanks, Jennifer. And we'll do plenty of time for Q&A after, so no worries there. So Matt's just going to walk us through a little bit of the mobile products that he puts together for consumers actually at the Home Depot and in aisle.
Yeah, I would start by saying I think we think about the world and the changing landscape very similar to the way Jennifer talked about it. And we clearly have, like most retailers and most brands, a significant amount of growth that's happening in mobile. More and more of our customers are interacting with our products in different ways. And I try to think about solving sort of two main use cases for our customers when I'm sort of in the product development role that I'm in. One thing that we can do through mobile is have a store in your pocket that's accessible 24/7. Wherever you are, as long as you have connectivity, we can put our product catalog in front of you. Just to level set, a typical Home Depot store, you've all been in one, they're a 100,000 square foot big store, have about 35 or 40,000 items for sale in a given store. On our website, in our mobile app, on our mobile website, the number is around 500,000 items for sale. So, big difference in terms of the scale and the quantity and the assortment that we can deliver through mobile. So we have an extended aisle type of strategy there. But the other thing that mobile really offers for traditional brick and mortar retailers is an opportunity to help the in-store experience. One of the typical questions that somebody is going to ask when they walk into our stores on a Saturday morning is, where is X, right? We've all been there. So an area that's an investment area for us is really mapping our stores, figuring out how that we can bring innovative things that we've all gotten comfortable with using, for example, inside Google Maps, inside of a retailer app. So that's an interesting sort of development to try to figure out how we can be a shopping companion in the store for our customers, in addition to kind of a marketplace that's open 24/7 that has an assortment, a wide assortment, and a wide variety of ways to fulfill an order, whether it's delivered to your house, whether it's something that you buy online and pick up in store, whether it's something that you have shipped from the store. That's an area that is a big focus for us. We call it interconnected retail inside Home Depot. You hear a lot of different names for it, omni-channel, multi-channel, but we think it's certainly a competitive advantage for us, and mobile is one of the sort of gateways to unlocking that.
Perfect. I'm sure the consumer appreciates the ability to not have to find a Home Depot salesperson too, right?
It is sometimes a challenge,
Yeah,
yes.
for sure. That was not a knock on Home Depot. I can always find the people when I need them. So Josh is going to take us through just a real quick case study on Porsche and what they're calling the silent seller and how they're using mobile actually at the dealership after hours.
Thanks, ALIA. So this was something that came from kind of the notion that our dealerships are only open certain hours of the day. We don't have a 24-hour a day lot. People can't walk up to buy a car at all hours of the day. We actually close them down and turn the lights off at night.
It's not like Wendy's.
Let the salespeople actually go home every once in a while. But what we also found is that, understanding that, we were seeing a lot of traffic on the dealership lots after hours, weekends, nights, et cetera. And so we were trying to figure out, is that in some extent the customer avoiding the salesperson because nobody wants to talk to a car salesman. This is a universal truth. There's a listing of most hated jobs, and car salesman is right at the top. So I think advertising.
I'm just browsing.
I think advertising sales is right underneath it, but that's all right. So I win on both.
How about that?
It wasn't a knock on you. I was taking the heat on both of these. So we tried to understand how do we capitalize on that and make this a really compelling opportunity for our customers, and also benefit the showroom and the sales staff. So of course, taking everything that everyone knows, these devices are in pockets at all the time. The connectivity is solid. The speed of transfer is amazing. So let's go ahead and actually let the consumer interact with that product in their pocket. And if they're only browsing casually because they're not deep into that shopping process, they can take that car with them and move on to the next store. But now they've got that vehicle that they were originally looking at. So if they're trying to do that cost comparison or that features comparison later on, they can always come back to it, and it's a click. It's the car that they were standing in front of. So the technical kind of side of it is there's an M tag that we were showing. We've moved away from M tags because Microsoft doesn't support it anymore. But that's where we launched the product with. So these are all now QR codes that are fairly ubiquitous, and we wanted to make sure that we had a device that was, or a tool that was accessible basically from any device, not iOS or Android specific. Just click it and go. And when you're standing in front of that car, you hit the QR code, and it pulls up the VIN specific. So VIN is the vehicle identification number of the car that consumer is standing in front of. It's got the full specs, everything that's on that vehicle, as well as videos and other information. So I've really delivered that vehicle now from the physical world to the virtual world, so that consumer can take it with them. And if they're at the point where they want to buy it, all they need to do is request some information from the salesperson, and lead goes into the store, and the normal channel goes on. So
Very cool.
that's, I don't know how long I went, but longer than I probably should have, but a really compelling way for us to engage our customers and use some technology.
Josh, did you see a difference between consumers' usage of the M code from when you went to the QR code? Was there an uptick in usage, or pretty similar?
It was pretty similar. I think that the QR code is a little bit of is certainly more commonplace now, so it's easier and people understand the technology. A lot of the automotives started with M tags because we had the back end ability to change the URL on the fly. So we weren't always anchored to one specific data point, which is really nice because if that vehicle moved to a different lot or something like that, we didn't have to re-engineer all the window stickers. All we needed to do was do one simple URL change. The QR codes allow us to do that now, so we've gained that benefit. But I think that it's just that adoption and that consumer understanding of how to use the device, which is allow it to continue to climb.
Gotcha, awesome. So I think you all would agree that we've got some pretty great representation of different types of advertisers and marketers here. So we've got retail, we have auto, we have telecom, and agency side. The three of you have fantastic views on consumer usage and patterns in general. Would love to hear, at your companies, what's maybe one mobile trend that you're really interested in or watching closely and paying a lot of attention to lately?
So I'll start off, and I mean, this is any mobile conference you're going to hear this talked about. The idea of cross-channel attribution, at least among a brick and mortar company. We were talking about this just a couple weeks ago when you were over at our office, ALIA, and I think one of the things that we're trying to put our finger on is, all those statistics that we see with a straight line basically going up about usage and adoption and time spent and visits and so on and so forth are true inside our company, just like it is at Porsche or Verizon or what have you. There was a lot of talk in the earlier sessions today about the size of the m-commerce market, and it's a relatively small market, but mobile is playing a much greater role in terms of its influence. But I don't think any brand or company really has put their finger on exactly what that means.
Sure.
And I'd say that's something that we're studying inside of the Home Depot. Roughly about 40% on a given day or a given week or a given weekend of our digital traffic is mobile phone or tablet.
40%.
40%.
Did you hear that? That's a huge number.
So I mean, and that's grown quite a bit over the last year. So it's really imperative for us, as a brand, as marketers, to understand what does that really mean at the end of the day? What did that translate into in terms of sales that happen in a physical Home Depot store?
Right.
We're all good at measuring the end commerce lift, and I can tell what products are selling at what time of day, as long as they're, transactions that happen on our website or, are through our app or our mobile website. But I'm fairly blind to the transactions that happen in the store that somebody, for example, looked at a rating and review, or somebody looked up store hours, or somebody, got some detailed product information. We don't yet have a good handle on the value equation of that type of, experience. So that's something, that we're spending a lot of time trying to figure out.
Yeah, I was having a conversation a little bit earlier, and it is sort of somewhere between complete measurement and attribution and just ignoring it altogether. So, I mean, that's, we're sort of working on that continuum.
Yeah, and I would say, again, this came up in a couple of the earlier discussions around, the size of the mobile advertising market and where it is compared to, other sort of mediums, television or print or radio or what have you. And, obviously those channels and vehicles have been around a lot longer. Some of the measurement capabilities are more mature there, or at least more accepted, with something like television. And I'd say, for mobile, we still have a ways to go, but partially that's on brands and companies to figure that out as well.
Sure.
I need to figure out what that 40% traffic is worth to justify a mobile advertising budget that helps drive that traffic even, even further.
Absolutely. Josh and Jennifer, how about some trends maybe that you're seeing at Porsche and at Moxie and Verizon Wireless?
Maybe something that is that we're continuing to see grow in terms of discussion space at Porsche and maybe in the automotive space in general is this notion of the connected car.
Yes.
So, not in an advertising model, but truly I need to connect this device and make this device now power my vehicle, or vice versa. And so we spend a lot of time, and I'm trying to think if there's been a day this year that I haven't seen an email come across that has something to do with a connected car, in terms of making sure the technology works, or the app is actually going to be able to unlock the doors, or something along those lines. So that's where I think the consumers want to be able to, they're familiar and comfortable with that device. Why do they need to relearn how to use an in-unit, a head unit in a vehicle when they already know how to completely manipulate that iPhone or that iPad or their Android device? And if we get to the point where I can now plug that into my car and it operates everything that I want, that's a really awesome moment.
Really exciting.
I don't know if that's going to happen anytime, this year. I hope that it happens sometime soon. But I think this notion of a connected car and this transport, the ability to transport data easily between those devices is upon us.
Yeah, and I'd just say a topic of conversation inside our company is the connected home.
Sure.
So thermostats and security systems.
I always go like this to my house when I get home
things
to
like
see if
that.
I can open it.
I think I might know someone who can help you guys out connecting your cars and connecting your home.
You have
So
some ideas there?
I think I might have some ideas there.
Good.
But one of the big trends that we're watching is how people are consuming content cross-device, particularly how they're using video content on their tablet devices. We're seeing, more and more people are replacing their desktops with their tablets. So what are those consumer and those consumption habits there? We're seeing a lot of video trends happening there. And then how are people using their smartphones? And so we're just closely monitoring and understanding, how people are using content in video, and then how we can better reach them with more relevant messaging that's not too intrusive but actually enhances their experience.
Yep, wonderful. Any of you have any wearable mobile on right now that we should know about? Fitbit, Smart Band, Smartwatch, Google Glass, anyone? No?
Nothing yet, maybe
Okay.
next year.
All right, good. Look forward to that.
See what I get for Christmas.
For sure. Yeah, and what about, so in terms of those like advertising opportunities within those, are you all looking at that now? Is it sort of just still emerging?
From my perspective, I think it's too early to be to make sense from an advertising space, because the scale isn't there for
Right.
us. I mean, the number of people that have Google Glass, there certainly are the early adopters, and they're the people that have been tagged for it, but the volume for us to say now we can effectively message to that consumer or drive something is not there. Will it be there? Potentially. And is it Google Glass, or is it another device? That's yet to be determined.
Sure.
I like that notion of does that watch now take over a lot of those functions, so I don't have to hold something up to my head?
Yeah.
That could be pretty cool. I don't know.
For sure. Yeah, we'll watch that closely. So mobile, right now we're calling it at Millennial sort of the Swiss Army knife of digital, and it's like the replacement device for, no more camera, no more alarm clock, no more iPod. What devices do you feel like you personally sort of rely on now that you used to have an actual device for and you just use your smartphone for? Anything?
All the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lowest, for me, the lowest tech one is that the kind of nightstand alarm clock is,
Yeah.
it's just there. I don't even know why. It probably doesn't even set to the right clock,
Right.
time anymore, because you just use that phone for everything, and
Remember,
know that,
if you went past 6 a.m., you had to go all the way through until
Oh,
you
you
got
gotta
to
go
6
around
a.m.
trip on
again.
it, yeah.
Or if you had it on PM versus AM, you didn't wake up. I mean, we don't have that problem as much anymore.
Also, do you guys remember your first digital camera was like 2 megapixels? Yeah. So, and what's amazing is just the easeability of the sharing of the much more higher quality photos and videos. I just think it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And so all of that utility application in the smartphone provides so much advertising opportunity and so many eyeballs and so much content too. Do you guys, when you look at advertising, maybe Jennifer and Josh specifically, do you really make a line between advertising in the mobile web and advertising in mobile applications?
A little bit, not so much. We, for some of it, it just depends on the goals and objectives of our campaigns that we have. In some cases, we know that in-app advertising will tend to perform better for those campaign goals. For example, if we want to do app downloads, we find that in-app advertising tends to work well. But we do majority of our advertising in content and not necessarily in apps. So we're seeing more traction with content.
Okay.
Okay, we never initiate a campaign saying that this is going to be a mobile web focused campaign. Every campaign starts from kind of that core objective statement. What do I need to deliver within this?
Sure.
And then let the different mediums tell us what's going to happen and drive to that objective. I definitely agree. If I need to drive engagement in app, then that's the best way to go. The challenge for us is, though, I always want to make sure that the creative product that they're engaging with in app is consistent with that experience. Because if you're in an app and you're having a good time, if it's whatever kind of time wasting game that you're playing or functional tool that you're using, that experience can't be a complete separation from that.
Yeah, sure.
That native experience. You
Yeah.
need to be in line in terms of that, which is a lot easier to do from a mobile web standpoint, because I think people can understand, all right, I'm clicking and I'm going out. But if I'm in an app, this is that protected space that I downloaded and I secured for myself. Now you're going to go ahead and take me somewhere else. We need to be really careful about how we treat that experience.
The post-click experience is almost more important than what you show in the display ad or the execution of the expanded unit or what have you. And I would say, as an industry, we still have a ways to go. You probably see this more than anybody, but there are probably campaigns that you see and you're just like, you almost kind of cringe.
Never.
They're linking that to that. We'd probably be guilty of some of those.
Not though.
I would say, inside the Home Depot, we're going through, a lot of change. I mean, we spend a lot of time thinking about media mix. We know that we've got, certainly growing mobile penetration. And one of the things that is a focus for us is to make sure that we're doing the right thing. We traditionally have operated with a Marcom calendar that is around events and things like that. But like, hey, what about all this stuff that I, was up there a couple slides ago? What are some ways that we can drive awareness of things like store maps or voice search, or you might see some of our latest TV spots have augmented reality features running in them. We're giving a lot of thought to some of the tools and the products that exist both on our website and in our mobile products, that are going to help make the shopping experience better, going to help inspire people to take on a project. I think there's a lot of things that we have built over the last couple of years that we're now getting oriented around telling a better story from a marketing point of view.
So would you say at the Home Depot, how long have you been at the Home Depot now?
2 years.
So Matt's been at the Home Depot for 2 years, but he was doing mobile advertising since when we were using phones in bags in the middle of our cars. So would you say now that
I don't know about that.
It's much less siloed than it was in the past? Are you working sort of cross-divisionally to plan advertising and things like that?
I think so, inside Home Depot.
Yes.
So I mean, I spend a lot of time with our marketing team, one of the things is just breaking down the walls to say, hey, these are the things that on the product side of the house we're working on that could be, a good story to tell across whether it's TV or, print or circulars or we do a lot of radio. And we do a lot of digital and we do a lot of mobile. So it's helping to elevate the things that are, from a product point of view, things that we feel good about that, could perhaps be part of a campaign. So there's a lot of that happens.
Do you guys feel at the Home Depot that you're running pretty mobile first at this point?
We talk mobile first a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of companies do.
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet.
Got it.
No, I don't think we're there yet.
Josh and Jennifer?
Our hearts and minds are in the right place.
Yeah, well, that
but,
starts there.
Execution-wise, I think we're okay, but there's certainly a lot of opportunity for improvement.
I guess my take is that I don't know if, and it's maybe a little controversial, I don't know if mobile first is the exact right way to look at it. As long as we're saying mobile in the discussion,
Yes.
we've
Yes. Mobile
we've crossed this immense chasm that
Right.
we're talking mobile.
Sure.
And as long as we're understanding that there is consumption that is different on that device than what it used to be, and it's different than how you're interacting with that PC, you're interacting with the tablet or even the television, is that we're having that discussion at the planning table, and that's a huge leap forward.
Up front, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to steal a joke that I've gotten from one of our clients, is that we need to eat our own dog food. So, we work for a mobile company, and so I would like to say that we look at mobile as a significant part of our plan. To your point, should it be mobile first? I think it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish in that landscape. So it's definitely a big seat at the table, and we build it into just about everything we do, both with all of our clients, not just Verizon.
And I think that the piece that is most compelling is that when you truly have an understanding of what is the customer experience and how are they engaging with your product, it's got to be a seamless experience from that desktop experience, from the television, all the way down to what's going on in their pocket, because the consumer thinks it's Porsche, right? And so I'm engaging with Porsche. I don't want to have to figure out how to navigate something differently because now I'm on my mobile device as opposed to a tablet or on my PC or even in the showroom. That brand, it's one brand and we need to deliver one experience. So that's really compelling for us to say, how do we make sure that that's being delivered?
And when you don't have mobile up front, you end up with those executions that I was
Right.
kind of referring to,
Afterthought.
which is, we got to bolt it on at the last minute, we forgot about mobile. Okay, just point that banner here and we'll be good. And
Sure.
you're generally not good, right?
That's not good. So, along those lines, then, time spent in mobile versus other mediums, 10+%. Dollars spent on mobile advertising versus other mediums, 1-ish%. Massive chasm there. What's, the usage is there, the relevance. What does it take from a media spend perspective to get us closer to that 10%?
Quantify the value.
Yep.
What's a download? What's a download of the Porsche app worth? I don't know if you guys know. I don't know what the the value of the Home
Sure.
Depot app is, in a real concrete sort of, indisputable way.
Lifetime value type of thing.
Just not there yet.
Right.
But when we get there, I think then it's going to be very easy to go to the CMO and say, wow, look at this. This is what the value of a download is worth from a, lifetime value point of view. Let's talk about this media mix and where we're spending versus, where we're really driving, big value.
Yep, absolutely.
I was just going to expand on that. Truly, in our case, it's measurement. I think digital has put ourselves as such a high bar in what we can track and measure,
Yes.
and we're not there with mobile. There's a lot of challenges with the different operating systems, cookie challenges that we just need to get a better understanding or find a better solution for how we can better track what we're doing from a mobile perspective and be able to wrap it up holistically into all of our digital efforts. And I think we just haven't found those solutions yet. We're looking at a lot of beta testing and a lot of different ways that we can take a big leap of faith to figure out what we think performance is, but I do think that measurement is holding us back.
I think we also need to challenge ourselves too, is what does that objective-based planning start from? If it's an awareness play, you're not going to be able to beat TV, right? TV is going to win an awareness play almost in every instance. And from our perspective, the dealers, the salespeople, they can see it. It's something that's immediately, visible for everyone. They say, "Oh, I saw it on TV last night. It was during Modern Family," or whatever it was. That's a win for everybody in the organization when somebody say, "I saw your TV spot. That was easy." It's a lot more difficult to explain, "I saw your ad on my handheld when I was, not working." Right? So we've got to take a little bit of that understanding and say, when we're planning the campaigns, what is the objective? If the objective is awareness, we're not going to win those dollars for mobile. If the objective is move somebody down the funnel and convert them, at retail, mobile's going to do it. And it's going to probably do it better than anything.
Got it. So by 2017, I've heard that 50% of the U.S. digital ad spend will be going to mobile. Do you guys think that number is too high, too low, spot on? 2017, so we've got, 4 years to get there.
50%. Paid search, part of that equation?
Yes, I'll give you mobile search. Sure.
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
Could be, yeah.
I have one yes.
I think in some cases I'm already there.
Okay.
Again, from a campaign objective planning, how am I running each individual campaign? I've run campaigns that are almost 100% digital.
Cool.
So it can be done. From a global standpoint, I'll go with maybe.
I think it depends on how you define mobile. So I think there's going to be new devices.
Right,
there's
connected
going to be
TVs and connected refrigerators.
I think mobile is just going to be such a broad space that, it might be underrepresented. It's kind of hard to tell. And I think if we can solve some of the tracking issues and measurement, then I think there's a lot that we can do there.
Yeah, I think that's right. It gets increasingly blurry, right? If you're buying stuff through Google, or you're buying stuff through Facebook, or you're buying stuff through Twitter, a lot of that consumption is occurring, inside of, a Safari browser or within the Facebook app or, inside of Twitter. So it gets harder and harder to measure this because it does get kind of, blurry.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Matt, actually, from a mobile product side, what's the order of platforms that you develop for nowadays? And curious, do you bother developing for BlackBerry or Windows at all?
No BlackBerry. We do a little bit of work in Windows. I tend to prioritize, the three main areas that I'm responsible for inside Home Depot is our mobile website, the experience on a tablet device, and our consumer-facing apps. Really our iPhone app and our Android app at the end of the day. All three of those kind of carry equal weight because they do slightly different jobs for us.
Yep.
Mobile web, obviously, we got a lot of reach there. It connects into what we do in social, and it connects into what we do via our email program and obviously our paid search program. The apps are important sort of loyalty vehicles for us. They have all the bells and whistles of our latest sort of native opportunities and things that we're doing from a product point of view. And then the tablet is where we obviously have, I'd say, the most amount of conversion in terms of orders and things like that. So tablet commerce inside Home Depot is bigger than mobile commerce, but mobile traffic is bigger than tablet traffic.
So at all three of your organizations, do you treat tablet as mobile, or do you treat it separately?
We treat it as mobile, and really it just becomes part of a digital discussion.
Got it.
We consider it mobile, but we purchase and track it separately.
Do. Okay.
And
Yeah, it's really not mobile at the end of the day.
Right.
I would say, I think 90% of our usage on tablet is in the home.
Couch commerce.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think one of the things that you have to be careful of as an organization is if you talk about mobile and you're including tablet, you need to have a caveat in there that says we're including tablet because, it has different characteristics, different conversion rates, different time of day usage and things like that. There's some significant differences in the audience and the behavior that occurs on, a tablet device than what occurs on a phone.
Gotcha, perfect. So in the interest of moving to cocktails in the next 10 minutes or so, I know there's...
or less.
Which I cannot have any cocktails, but are there a couple questions from the audience about what these guys are doing from either a mobile products or an advertising side? I think Cecile's got the microphone. Thank you, guys.
Hey guys, Alex Hall from Tiger's Bike. Question to Josh and Matt, probably more Matt. I'm just wondering from a product development roadmap standpoint, thinking about Wi-Fi networks within store, I don't know whether you've gone down that path yet, but I'm just interested to hear how you think that can translate into more conversion in store.
So do you mean like lighting up a Wi-Fi network inside a big box store?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, so we put Wi-Fi in all the Home Depot stores about 2 years ago, I would say, actually through AT&T. And one of the things that, in fact, I just had a discussion with one of the guys about coming into the foundry and spending a little time to think about what the opportunities are there from a marketing point of view. We're looking at some of the Bluetooth stuff now, and the beacon stuff. I think, that is going to be an area where increasingly you're going to see big box, or you're going to see any brick and mortar try to think about how to strategically use that Wi-Fi network. A couple years ago it was, wow, we got to light this up because consumers want it, and if we don't have it and somebody else does, we're going to be at a disadvantage inside of our stores. I'd say the next year or so is where we think strategically about how to utilize that network beyond just providing what's kind of a commodity now. You kind of expect when you go into a store that you're going to have, decent coverage and an ability to get onto a network. So I'd say over the next year or so, we're going to think strategically more about how to utilize that network, what the marketing opportunities might be, around it. Dealerships, they all have Wi-Fi, right?
We don't have a prescription for Wi-Fi in our dealerships, but I would say easily 90% of them have Wi-Fi in there. And the experience for our customers coming into the showroom is, either they're waiting for delivery or they're waiting on a service call. So it provides that productive time for the consumer in store. There certainly are opportunities that for us that are untapped in terms of pushing content to consumers while they're authenticating on that network, which I think could become a nice value add for the customers. But we have considerable less traffic than you guys coming through a store in any given minute of the day. So.
Yeah, the other thing that we needed to do Wi-Fi, we needed to implement Wi-Fi was, in our environment, it is sometimes hard to get a signal.
Sure.
So, again, you go into the back of the stores, there's a lot of steel in the stores, and, sometimes it's really hard to get onto a network, so. Thanks for the question.
Hello, Dan O'Hara from Avanade. And question, looking forward, how important is it to put your brand in the mobile wallet space? Do you need to have the loyalty cards in all the mobile wallets? How important is that for your brand and your perception?
This one's for me, not him.
And a Porsche loyalty card as well.
So wallets, wallets is certainly an interesting one, and we haven't spent any time talking about it, but that's one where I think certainly there's a lot of smoke and not a lot of fire right now, but going out over the next few years, it's going to be very interesting to see how that develops. There's a lot of land grab kind of going on right now. We went out early with a partnership with PayPal in our stores. That's been very interesting learning for us. PayPal converts very well for us on our online site. We're lighting it up in mobile, over the next couple months. But as far as the question was, how important was it for us to put our brand inside a wallet, or how important is it for us to be agnostic when it comes to wallets?
Do you want to be in multiple wallets? I want to have my Home Depot card in all the wallets and have sort of marketing spot.
To some degree, I think. At the end of the day, you've got to be pragmatic about who's actually got adoption. So obviously Google's out there with theirs, and PayPal, and it's a very competitive space. I'd say it's too early to tell right now if we have a belief of where we need to be. But one of the guideposts or the guiding principles would be, hey, if there's adoption in a channel or in a transactional sort of mode that requires us to either accept it or to have a presence there, we're gonna want to be there. If there's a mass of customers, then we're gonna want to be there, just like any other retailer would want to be.
And I'll take maybe a slightly different twist on it, is that I certainly am not going to be programming into a wallet, but if I take that real estate that's on somebody's device, that's some pretty valuable real estate. So if I can make sure that I have a Porsche Crest that somebody has committed that space for them because I've got a really compelling app for them to engage with, If it's our Cayman Code of the Curve app where you can actually map your drive, we maybe stole it from Nike. But anyhow, you can go ahead and map your run with your car and kind of check your scores against the leaderboard and see how you're performing. So if I can make something compelling and I can make sure that the brand is always going to be on their home screen, I've won, right? So that's, kind of taking that same idea. As long as we're building content that's compelling and it's going to be sitting on their home screen, it's a win.
That's kind of holy grail.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been talk earlier today about, just the massive number of apps that are out there. And, I want to get my app on the first page of everybody's phone. Is that a realistic goal? No. I mean,
it's not.
I don't think so. I mean, the typical Home Depot shopper comes into our stores 3 or 4 times a year.
I go in like 3 or 4 times a day sometimes.
But there is a different customer segment where I think I have a real strong chance of getting, sort of home screen placement, and that's for contractors and for pros. Those guys are in our stores, once a week, multiple times a day type of thing. We've got a lot of value that we can bring to the table for that audience, and that's an audience that we will get our app on a home screen with.
Hi, I'm Mark Pearson with Pearson Global. I have a question for you about image recognition technology with smartphones. So you gave the example of the QR code where you could get more information about the car. What if you used image recognition technology where somebody was watching TV or a billboard or a magazine ad, or in Home Depot, they are looking at a particular item, they get more information, they can be led to a website, et cetera. A lot of the indications have said that in the next 3 years, that's going to be a very prevalent technology that's going to come into being. What are your thoughts on that?
We're currently looking at some applications to do that and to try to drive value. If somebody's standing in the Home Depot parking lot and they see a 911 parked up front and they take a picture of it, why don't I deliver content to them? So I mean, that's the idea, is that if you're out and about, any image can become a cue for content as long as we can program against it. So the silhouette of our car, the crest that's on the hood, the name badge that's on the back, all of those are cues for us that we're looking at. How do we drive further value for the customer? Not going to happen next month, but we're getting there. And I think that as the kind of the back end of like what Google Glass is doing and how that's keying on different content, it will work.
Very cool. I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, my name is Pierce. I had a quick question. Obviously, this mobile is a new frontier for established brands like Home Depot. How are you responding and iterating to the different tastes and behaviors of consumers as you roll out a lot of these really cool features in your mobile and tablet products?
I'd say you got to experiment. You got to test and learn. You got to try different things. You got to run a variety of different units in a variety of different places with a variety of different creative messages, hitting a variety of different consumers. And I think over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of experimentation in the market. It's going to be incumbent on all of us to fail fast, learn quick, optimize. I'd say that's kind of generally the philosophic approach inside our company.
Absolutely, it's just testing and being able to use those results real time or fast enough that you can actually make a difference. We're very much into that testing and learning phase still.
Maybe we've been maybe a bit stubborn in terms of an approach, is that we have to be smart about how we go into market, and honestly, the apps that we programmed have been primarily iOS apps. So we can consolidate our technology spend by only programming to one device, because that's where the bulk of our consumers are using it. If we look at, say, who is hitting our content, it is primarily iOS devices. So we can kind of reduce kind of maybe some of the variability by looking at a single device. Sure, we'll take a lot of heat for it because there's plenty of Android users, as was shown on the chart, and they want to experience our content. But for us to be compelling and cost-effective, we sometimes need to narrow that down.
Great. Interesting. Thank you guys so much for coming. Again, we've got Jennifer GASSMAN from Moxie Interactive, Josh CHERFOLI from Porsche North America, and Matt Jones from the Home Depot.
Good job. Thanks, Alia.
Thank you, Matt. And cocktails are in the piazza, Larry would like me to tell you.
Nice job, Jeff.